Welcome, adventurers and wastelanders, switching up the order, to the PIPCAST 3000, episode 62, a bi-weekly podcast every other Sunday where we talk about video game news and Fallout with a dedicated Fallout topic. We've got quite a few things to talk about, but right now, I'm going to introduce my co-hosts, BADCompanySarge.
Howdy.
And Jared of Jared Gaming.
Hello.
And I'm Caedo.
I mean, they're on your channel. I hope they've
I'm
worked
not.
out.
They know who you are. Come on.
I am not fully awake yet, but we're going to be talking about a bunch of different new stuff coming, new releases and E3 and other kinds of stuff that we got to see over the last couple of weeks. But we like to start with a tip of the day. So, Sarge, what was your suggestion?
My tip of the day was to come up with conversation starters. I see all the time online people coming into like Discords or chats or just anything where they're communicating with other people and failing to start up conversations. And worst of all, when someone comes in and is like, "Oh man, chat's so dead," and it's like, no, that's your fault. Come up with good conversation starters. And the best conversation starters I find are questions that don't include superlatives. So don't ask people like, "Oh, what's the best? What's your favourite?" Ask like actual interesting questions which don't just divide people, but let people talk and have a full discussion.
That's a nice tip.
Yeah.
You were prepared.
I just get angry and yeah, tell people why they're wrong.
Didn't we do? We did a little conversation starter exercise on 76, didn't we, Sarge?
You'll have to clue me in here.
Remember when we were trying to interact with other players, and you were recording me trying to introduce myself to other players, and like none of them were on board?
Oh, vaguely, yes. That's voice chat in a game, though, which is even more awkward than typing out in text.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, we got some people talking.
That was an almost video that
that one didn't make it, did it?
Nobody's gonna see.
No. Man, I've had so many cancelled videos I've made. It's sad now.
You and me both. Anyway, we also have a comment of the cast when we do our PIPCAST thing. It's a comment from the previous PIPCAST. Whoever decided to comment may get a spotlight shown on what they had to contribute. And last PIPCAST, we talked about cybernetics and how we would implement them and make them better in the Fallout series. And we had a lot of references to things like Deus Ex and whatnot. But Jared, what did Mist and Furnace have to say?
Mist in Furnace said, "You keep mentioning things in this episode of the PIPCAST, and I got so excited thinking they were like things you could do in Deus Ex, especially when you got to the Typhoon. As for a sneaky crit build involving cybernetics, I would think Barrett's arm from Human Revolution would be pretty good if it could somehow be suppressed. ...
Yes. That's period ellipses.
I thought it was important to add, okay?
Extra long pause. Thank you, Mist and Furnace, for the comment.
Yeah.
And I agree. I forgot until you brought it up that there's a Barrett in Deus Ex as well, and he also has a gun arm. So, yeah, maybe a little bit of inspiration there from Final Fantasy VII. Maybe. They are like, yeah, because the Eidos Montreal and Square Enix proper are under Square Enix. So maybe a little bit. Maybe a little reference thing. Or maybe not even close to related. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of difficult to have two characters called Barrett who also happen to have gun arms inside of video games and not have been influenced by one or the other at all.
Yeah.
Seems unlikely, but
Slightly specific.
yeah.
But both were cool. The one in Deus Ex, he had more like, I think he had like cannon rounds too. I would have to go back and look at it again, but it was
Barrett's
pretty cool.
gun can be modded out with different stuff, so...
Yeah, and Barrett's gun could be a melee weapon.
Yeah, it can be a chainsaw.
So, or a drill arm, or a the cannonball. Yeah, he doesn't fire it. He just punches things with it. It's pretty great. But anyway, we had quite a few things that happened the last couple weeks. New games releasing and or teasing when they're going to be released. I want to start with Sarge's.
Oh, okay.
The one you said you were going to talk about during your stream. You can promote your streams too.
I mean, I actually said I didn't talk about it in my last stream because I was saving it for today.
Yeah, we mentioned it, but we were going to talk about it. So go for it.
Oh, hey everyone, remember on the last Pipcast how we talked about the whole thing on Twitter, hashtag hold Ubisoft accountable? Well, you know the gaming community has all come together being like, hey Ubisoft, we're not going to take it, you got to treat people... There's new Far Cry gameplay! Everyone, there's new Far Cry gameplay! Come over, new Far Cry gameplay! There's new Far Cry gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And, people love it. And, yeah, people are just really happy that we're getting another Far Cry game, they've released the gameplay, and I'm scrolling through the comments, seeing none of the hold Ubisoft accountable, no criticism or anything like that, really. Just, Far Cry, Far Cry, Far Cry, Far Cry. And all the generic gaming channels out there going crazy over it. Tons of garbage videos that I don't watch. And yeah, I think it's a good example of how the whole... I literally said, like, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said that it's likely going to fizzle out and these things don't stay on there for that long. But this is a particularly prevalent one, because it was maybe 10 days later at most, when it had gone from still seeing the occasional tweet of hold Ubisoft accountable, and then it just being completely overrun with, ooh, new game, yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, Far Cry 6 gameplay has been shown off. It looks like a Far Cry game. Like,
Yep.
It doesn't even look great or anything. It's not, like, anything to be blown away by. It's Far Cry.
It just takes place in another place.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I like Far Cry games. I think they're a lot of fun. But, yeah, it's...
I think I've noticed this with Ubisoft games. Like, they kind of stick to a mold.
Yep.
They just keep making more.
I believe the term you're thinking of is cookie cutter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There are many cookies that have been cut.
Yep.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong,
want them
I like these cookies. Yeah, the cookies are nice. I enjoy them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it saddened me to see just how quickly there was the turnaround between,
Yeah.
oh, company's very bad, to, no, we love you, company. You showed off some of the game that we already knew was coming out in the future, and isn't going to be released until the 7th of October, so there's actually quite a bit of time. So I do wonder almost if they put this gameplay out a bit early, just to kind of hide all the headlines that are going off about them.
So the hype could drown out the meaningful stuff.
Guarantee they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like
oh, look, a distraction over here.
Yep. They didn't address any of the whole Ubisoft accountable stuff. Saw no acknowledgement of them whatsoever. They shut up and they throw a distraction, and it worked perfectly. That's literally all you need to do. If you want to avoid like drama and stuff, this is the exact playbook demonstrated perfectly.
Gotta make sure you put petting dogs in the trailer though too.
Yep.
Like they like their games, checked all the boxes.
Yep.
And I was actually mad when I saw an adorable dog with
wheels,
no hind legs and wheels.
Yeah.
I was legit mad because I was like, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. I didn't even know about that. I didn't watch the trailer, so
yeah, it's apparently you can distract enemies with little, I think it's a dash hound, right?
Yeah. I think that's the name of
little wiener dog with wheels and a little backpack.
What?
Yeah. And the other pet is a gator.
Yeah, we got gators down in
gold tooth and a vest.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally, I think it's about 20 seconds into the trailer, or is it? There's a side-by-side of the two of them. Okay, 17 seconds in, it literally shows the character side-by-side petting the gator and the dog.
Both.
It took them less than 20 seconds to show off both of those.
Absolutely planned. Like, there's nothing more distracting than petting animals.
Yeah.
Especially if they're adorable and or crippled.
Wow, yeah. That is one adorable dog.
Hashtag hold Ubisoft accountable.
Or don't. Or just buy another Far Cry game as soon as it comes out, because it's not like the best thing to do with these games, which are already a bit dated and not all that innovative, is to wait for them to go on sale so you can get them at a decent price and still enjoy them.
Yeah. That's what I did with Far Cry New Dawn.
Yeah. It's what I've done with every single Far Cry game I've ever bought.
I still felt guilty though. Like I don't want to support them really at all. The odds of being able to buy used are dwindling. So.
Yeah.
But there's an option for now if you're playing on console and don't want to support them directly. Wait until there's used copies out there and get a used copy.
I mean, honestly, you're not going to miss out on that much if you don't pick up Far Cry 6. I can guarantee now it's not going to be like some life-changing video game. It's unlikely to be your favourite video game, or at least your favourite video game for long. Even if, like me, you're someone who does really enjoy the Far Cry games, you're not going to miss out on much. It's a lot of the same, which, yeah, it's something you know you'll enjoy if you enjoy the previous stuff, but it's not a big loss on not picking it up.
Mm-hmm. Could we talk about what I think everybody should pick up?
Yeah!
I think it's still on Game Pass. We're talking about Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 just released a DLC called Battle for Steel Town. And not to spoil anything, but there is a town that exports steel that mayhaps a battle is going on in.
Oh.
And you get to take part and make some interesting decisions along the way. This DLC is crammed full of pop culture references, not just for modern day, but for people in our age group, like people that grew up in the 90s.
Like
and,
you guys.
Grew up in the 90s and early 2000s. I think a couple will apply.
I mean, maybe. Hey, I don't even know if I'm a millennial. Come on.
They had a in the lobby, once you get into the Steel Town area, they had a set of steak knives sitting on the counter in a nice plastic covered case, and it was like that makes so many sales and you get a promotion kind of thing. Like that was the item description. So it was essentially a Cutco reference.
Oh.
Multi-level marketing stuff.
Okay.
Garbage. And there was a Tamagotchi in a pile of stuff, which was funny.
Alright, that I'm familiar with. I want a rundown of as many Easter eggs as you can remember now. I just want to know how many I'm at all aware of.
There was references to Speed Racer, Herbie, and we couldn't nail down what the police car was. It had a 54 on it. That's the only way we could tell what the vehicles were referencing to, because they had their numbers on them.
Okay.
But it was an old police car with number 54 on it. If anybody comes up with the movie that's from, then that's what it is. But definitely Herbie and Speed Racer.
I mean, there's
basically wandering through a junkyard and finding these cars and using them for a password thing.
There was this TV show in the 60s called Cars 54. I think that's don't know
old.
if that's what it's referencing. That's kind of old.
There was a reference to AOL discs.
Ooh.
AOL discs. Oh, okay.
AOL trial discs.
Alright,
Did you know that the internet used to be all on compact discs, dude?
That was everything you said so far has been before my time. Like Tamagotchi and Herbie I'm aware of, but even then it was like maybe like my sister I think was in that era. She's a bit older than me, but yeah, all of this is before my time.
Basically anybody who had a technical job, AOL was like the first like major internet provider, or I guess service. So they pressed out so many freaking trial discs that I know that my dad was a network administrator and did other technical jobs before that point, and he would come back with stacks of AOL discs, just tons of them, like 20 to 30, 40 at a time. And we would just find creative things to do with them because we weren't going to use them for the free trial. At some point, we learned that it deters birds from getting into your garden if you hang up reflective things
that I'm familiar with.
on your fence. And those were perfect because we weren't going to use them for anything else.
Yeah. See, I've used discs as bird reflectors and shooting targets.
Yeah.
That's what you do with spare ones.
Anyway, it was called AWOL in the game, but it was a blue disc and it was very clearly referencing the AOL discs.
Okay.
I don't know. They had hilarious like bureaucracy and placement tests stuff too, like in the introduction of Steel Town. It was like the GOAT but worse.
Okay.
And better when it comes to humor. So you would like run on a treadmill and they would be like, okay, let's find out what you're best suited for. And one of them, let's see, assistant to the assistant manager was one of them.
Office reference.
They were like, we already have that position filled, or we don't have that position currently. We're gonna have you be nut tightener.
Yay.
And so there's this one spot in the factory where you go over there and you tighten the nut and then you go back and they're like, good job. Would you like another placement test? So you take it again and you go through the whole process and they end on nut loosener. And you have to go back and loosen the one you just tightened. And it just repeats. The first time you do it, yes, you get something out of it, but it just repeats over and over. It's pretty great. Anyway, the gist of Battle for Steel Town is there's something that went wrong at the steel mill that the Patriarch is receiving all of his defense tech with. This is defense robots, turrets, vehicles, that kind of stuff. And he sends the Team November, the Desert Rangers, to go figure out what the heck is going on. Turns out the workers' families out front are just like, where are our workers? We haven't seen them in weeks. Are they dead? So you get to find out what went on and then come to some sort of decision on who survives this whole thing. That's mainly the thing. That's how a lot of faction things go. But I enjoyed it. It felt there was only like one gripe that I had, and it felt like I was railroaded up until a specific decision point, like a decision that I thought was going to be earlier. Like if you're choosing between two sides, you're just like, oh, I just want to help out this side, but you can't. You have to go through the main thing that appears as though you're helping the other side, and then at the very end of that segment, then you decide. I understand why they did it, because it's easier to do that than design two completely separate paths.
I mean, I hate it.
Yeah.
That is genuinely probably my biggest gripe nowadays with a lot of games which are like, oh yeah, you have choices. And consumers are like, oh yeah, there's different endings, therefore I get choices. And they're like, oh yeah, I like this game because it's choice, and I don't like that game because no, I didn't feel the choice. I hate it. I hate it. And I hate everyone. I want you all to know.
Anyway, there were more than just one, which had me, more ready to forgive for that. Because I was just like, I hope this is not like the climax of the story, me just resolving the first major issue. And it wasn't. There was actually quite a bit more after that. So with the expectation of a 4-hour DLC, it definitely wasn't that. It was more like 12. So
nice.
That made me happy. And there were new mechanics implemented, like there was a new gun that was both an energy weird science kind of shotgun, but also had the ability to shield your allies, which was really cool. I want more support weapons like that, as well as a stun weapon system where if you shoot an enemy and stack this stun effect up to 10 on them, it'll just knock them out. HP doesn't matter, because there was an option to be non-lethal in certain parts of the DLC, or the whole thing if you want. They supply you with these weapons, and there's now crafting too, and you can craft better versions of some of them. That made it so no matter what your entry level was, you could still do the DLC, and that was a very cool way of doing it, as opposed to just being like, oh nope, your weapons aren't powerful enough, you can't kill these guys fast enough kind of thing. It's more of a, here's a bunch of new weapons, stack it up to 10, they'll pass out easy. So I thought that was cool. Anyway, yeah,
right on.
I think I talked about Battle for Steel Town a little too much.
Almost sounds like you like it a lot.
I do. I will geek out about Wasteland 3, and the Fallout Grandpa is where it's at. Back in my day, we had Tamagotchis.
Back in your day, you had some real pixely-looking games as well, which I'm guessing is why you like Graven quite so much.
Yes. I'm hoping that Jared had a look at this one too.
I did.
You might get some certain vibes out of this game.
I did, mainly because it's developed by, or at least published by, I don't know if it's published or developed by 3D Realms.
Yeah.
I feel like they're more of a publisher than a developer these days, but maybe they're going back to developing.
I think it's published.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slipgate Ironworks is the developer.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, if you don't know who 3D Realms is, and you probably can't appreciate it, but they did, like, they're most probably well known for, like, the old Duke Nukem games and stuff like that. So they kind of got some clout in the gaming industry, being one of the oldest game developers.
Still surviving somehow.
Still surviving somehow. Probably because
After
they
Duke
went
Nukem
to
Forever.
publishing instead of developing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like, it looks interesting. It's like a fantasy. I mean, it feels like fantasy Duke Nukem, essentially, from what I've seen.
There were games that did fall under this shooter subgenre too. So think like old school shooters like Duke Nukem 3D or Wolfenstein 3D or Blake Stone or whatever. Anybody who's listening who is, experienced with those kinds of games. This is a Graven. I don't even know if we mentioned it. Graven is a modern take on that, and they showed an early access launch trailer that showed a lot of cool things. I saw a mighty boot in the screenshots too, which is great. But crossbows and magic and fighting the undead. But it's fully 3D, but has that low quality texture aesthetic that you're used to seeing in those kind of 90s shooters. And I'm guessing kind of like a spiritual successor to like Hexen or Heretic or Blood, like those very gothic kind of theme.
It's very dark fantasy.
Yeah. And I dig it. I am gonna keep my eye on it, and I probably will try it, or at least watch a bunch of gameplay on it. I already got a preview by somebody else's gameplay, and whoever did the voice intro, they picked the perfect voice. Like, it is so good.
I thought about picking it up. I thought about maybe even streaming it. It seems like it's still early access, and it definitely sounds like it definitely feels like it's still early access from at least some of the reviews I was reading. I don't normally listen to reviews, but when you're spending money on things, I tend to at least pay attention to them, especially when it's mostly negative. Doesn't mean that they're right, but I'm with you. I'll keep my eye on it, and I don't know, maybe I'll pick it up one of these days and play it. It also reminds me of, like, did you ever play the Thief games, the old Thief games?
Oh, I watched a friend play the first one.
That's what it reminds me of, the style of fantasy. So if anyone is familiar with the Thief games, that's the kind of vibes that I'm getting from it.
I get where you're coming from that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. It's like,
no, I think you've done about as good a job of explaining it as you can. It's the kind of thing where if you see both of them, you can go, oh, okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sometimes we forget Sarge is a young lad.
Such a young lad he is.
Hey, but I've seen the original Thief.
But I was gonna say, like, you seem to know,
I got
so
that one. Yeah.
Respects.
Yeah, I just forget.
Yeah.
Because I'm old.
Yeah. I'm but a wee babby. Barely even an adult. Barely.
Hey, Sarge, do you remember that thing you were talking about with Cyberpunk?
Oh, I mean, how something negative probably that'll make people angry and leave comments, hopefully.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, of course, yes.
That's always what I say. Something negative.
Can we talk about that segue, though? Whew, man.
Yeah.
Hey, remember that
one time? Remember, I vaguely recall it was another Saturday. I think it was you, Sarge, that was saying something along the lines of while not directly negatively impacting CD Projekt this time, it would later on.
Yes, the knock-on effect of having an unsuccessful launch.
Yeah, and this is a little sooner than their next property, whatever that is. It says here that through Reuters, Cyberpunk Maker reports slump in quarterly profit amid PlayStation delisting. It's still delisted on the PlayStation Store. Cyberpunk is. So I think they're actually finally feeling the impact of that. So not just, a reduced stock value. Man, I hope this is enough motivation to
what the thing that's said here is, battered by Cyberpunk's launch, CD Projekt plans to start parallel high-budget developments from 2022. Good. As well as look for merger and acquisition opportunities. Oh, that's a phrase I don't like to see.
Hey!
So they want to buy up companies that know what they're doing?
Well, here's the thing, there's two ways to look at that. That's either them looking to buy up very small developers who they can kind of just take on and be like, hey, make stuff for them. Or it's them looking to be bought out, essentially. And the article doesn't really state either way.
No.
But I feel it's more likely to be them buying, because I doubt, they've still made a decent amount of cash from Cyberpunk. It wasn't, completely ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, there's one point here where it's revenue fell 2%. It's definitely not gone the way they wanted, but they're not instantly bankrupt by this game.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to mention that there was something that I guess encouraged more changes on CD Projekt Red's side was the opening up of job listings that happened recently as well. And there was, I need to find the specific wording. Props to GameRanks for listing their sources. Okay, new job listing via gamejobs.co. Primary source. The one thing, it's surprising how little journalists need to run with for a headline.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the qualifications for the gameplay designer entry that CD Projekt posted, was experience with narrative, multiplayer, and or shooters. And as far as we know, the multiplayer aspect of Cyberpunk 2077 is not going to happen anymore. And if there is specific, shooters in mind, that it might be gearing towards a brand new property is kind of the gist of what they're assuming here. Many grains of salt for that report, but there's a lot of people reporting on there being, parallel projects now, working on their next property, whatever that may be. So it may be a shooter. It may be a multiplayer shooter. It may be a battle royale.
Yeah, free-to-play battle royale.
You heard it here first. We called it.
Hey guys, we messed up when making this single-player game, so we're just going to stop making single-player games altogether. That's what you want, right?
Oh wait, no, it's going to be a Witcher-themed first-person shooter battle royale.
Nice. Dude. Geralt with a minigun.
Yes.
Just for fun, we'd start up the multiplayer streams again.
Just for that.
So there was a lot of things that PlayStation like to show off too in the past couple of weeks, and one of those things was Horizon Forbidden West gameplay preview, which was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it or not.
I've seen a couple of clips. I've not watched the entire thing, and yeah, it looks very pretty. Horizon Forbidden West is a game that I've even got on my wish list on the PC. Not Forbidden West, the original Horizon, Zero Dawn, I think it was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got that on my wish list because it's a cool game. It's robot dinosaurs and a big kind of post-apocalyptic but rebuilt kind of world. It genuinely looks quite cool. Yes. It's an interesting IP, something well worthy of a sequel, I believe. I must admit, the main thing I've seen about this game has been on Twitter, people comparing the shape of the face changing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's the 90% of what I've heard about, yeah.
Where were these people when Shadow of War came out?
No. You see, this has a female lead character.
God.
Yeah.
All right.
And she doesn't look
Fine.
feminine.
Yeah.
Feminine.
Yeah.
I can't even say it.
Yeah.
Feminine.
It's not like there are many games which end up changing the faces of characters by like small amounts for different reasons. It matters now, and it's being read into.
Yeah, hilariously, I don't remember seeing anything about Ocelot in general in any of the Metal Gear Solid games. He looks different in every game.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. He's allowed to.
They're just like, it's just Ocelot, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
You can tell he's got his gun with him.
Yeah. But I think therein lies the kind of the issue with that, though. Is, people don't care about the male characters, but if you make a female character that's not like, super sexually attractive, then oh my god, how dare you?
Yeah.
Her face has changed so little as well. Like, it's not a big change. The only way you really notice is in the side-by-side images.
And you can still tell who the character is. Like, in Shadow of War specifically, I was like, that just doesn't look like Talion anymore when it first came out. Whereas this still looks like Aloy. Just fine.
100%.
I would not have known had I not heard people talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I've seen pictures, and it never even occurred to me until people started whining about it.
Yeah. I've paused, so we've got a video linked on it from a PlayStation YouTube channel. I paused at 7:20 on the video. Picture of Aloy's face. Looking at that, my mind's instantly updated with, okay, that's what Aloy looks like. Like, I could not describe how she used to look in the past now, because it is so similar. Like, no, I can't even work it out. I can't even work out what's changed specifically. My brain's just auto-updated it. It's such a minor change. I've looked more drastically different. I shaved off my beard recently, and that was 10 times more of a physical change than this.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Game looks good.
Yeah. Game looks great.
I won't be playing it for many, many years.
I was gonna say, I still need to play the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The combat made me really excited to play it, fighting that big mech mammoth thing with the dude on it.
It has some very distinct, like, Breath of the Wild vibes going on with that glider thing, in my opinion.
Oh, of course. Any game with a glider now feels like Breath of the Wild.
It does. Like, it just can't be helped. No, it looks good.
Yeah.
My biggest critique would be a bit too much motion blur in this gameplay.
Turn it off.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, especially when you like pause it and it's like, oh, half the screen is just a blur of like colors that are being smudged,
smeared all over the place.
Yeah, I do hope they have an option to turn off motion blur in the game.
I am sure that they will.
They better.
It's pretty standard setting at this
motion
point.
Blur and film grain. Get rid of it. Stop using it, developers.
Yeah.
No one likes it.
Same. Freaking, they put that in the Mass Effect Legendary as if, it's already a cinematic game, and they're just like, oh, just put a film grain filter over it. No.
Like, why?
No.
Film grain's literally just noise. Noise is something you look to get rid of. The only times like you add it in is to like replicate old properties or give like a very specific feel in like cinema or TV. It's not needed in a video game.
And it probably infuriates like content creators more so because that just can cause pixelation more.
Yeah.
But it's also just a huge resource sink too. If you've got a lower end computer like my potato, I gotta turn that crap off.
Yeah.
It's not just annoying, but it's actually a considerable resource sink. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it is. It's unnecessary.
I would be curious to hear from the person on the development or the publishing side who is still going with, yes, we need to add in film grain to these games. I want to know why they're doing it. I want to know their thinking.
Or just find people who like film grain. Comment if you like film grain in your games.
Yeah.
Please.
Let us know. And please let us know why as well.
Yeah, why is very important. Speaking of a game that's probably going to have film grain as a setting as well, Dying Light 2 finally got some more gameplay, like a lot more, and a release date. We finally have a release date. I'm so excited. It's going to release on December 7th as of this trailer. So There may be a little bit of pushback, but Techland's been pretty good at waiting until they were ready to show more. Still don't pre-order, don't do that. But I am really excited for what Dying Light 2 is going to bring. They're almost entirely removing guns from the second game because this is further into the zombie apocalypse where guns have, run out of ammunition, broken down, and stuff like that, and humans don't really have a easy means of upkeep and whatnot.
Yeah.
Humans are living on top of buildings, and zombies only seem to, come out in force at night, the Dying Light thing, and human factions are warring with each other, and you get to decide which factions to work with to kind of change the world and the map as a result. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I am most excited because this is going to be co-op, like the first Dying Light, and I'm going to get to play it with my bros and enjoy killing zombies, raiders, and whoever else in the game with all the parkour. So, something to look forward to. December 7th is when Dying Light 2 is supposed to come out. If you have not played Dying Light 2 and you like zombie games, or Dying Light and like zombie games, what is wrong with you? You should look forward to Dying Light 2.
I'm not that big of a zombie game person, and even Dying Light 2 looks pretty decent to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks more appealing to me than the first game did, which
I'm
is
hoping
good.
that they, even though the writer didn't have such a good story around him a while ago.
Oh dear, is the game cancelled? Everyone, don't buy it. It's cancelled. Everything's cancelled. Sorry.
No,
Never buy a game from them again.
The difference here is he got let go as a result.
Oh, okay,
So-
pre-order now.
Don't pre-order it.
I'm so confused.
Hopefully the writing is better and less like a movie, a silly B movie that you're playing, because the first game, that's kind of what made it endearing, was like the B movie script, but the acting was really good. Like, so the writing was meh, but the acting was really good, which made it into a an interesting bag of really fun gameplay and hokey dialogue and story. So yeah, I'm stoked for Dying Light 2.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
I like zombie games, and I surprisingly played very little of the first one. It's just one of the, I know. I was reluctant to. I know. It's just one of those games that, like, it came out and I started playing it, and then for some reason I stopped playing it, not because I wasn't liking it, but because I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the mood for that particular kind of game at the moment or something, and I just never made it back to it. So I'd be willing to play it.
Okay, I guess that's acceptable.
But I just have very little experience with it.
Yeah.
But I also played it before, like, my YouTube channel, where I do a lot of quote unquote horror, which I guess zombies could be considered horror to a degree.
Yeah.
So
Dying Light is definitely in the horror survival genre.
well, I think that might be what turned me off from it originally, because, like, before I started playing horror games, I didn't play horror games. So when I got to, like, the nighttime stuff, I was like, no, it's too scary, I can't do it. I think that might have had a big reason. Like, it looks cool though. Now it'd be no problem.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited for it, very much so. And I hope it's good. I hope it's polished. There's only so many polished games that I've played in the past year.
Trying to think of what even has come out.
Yeah, right.
Maybe things that I've played that have been polished. Keep going back to Death Stranding. That game's polished.
Yeah.
Still haven't played that either.
Yeah. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I mean, that's just more polish on top of a functioning game. So
polish on top of perfection, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of something that's going to be absurdly polished and not run into any issues during their online presentations. E3 2021 is happening over the next June
It starts
12th.
next week. Yeah.
Starts June 12th, so it begins next week. We're going to be maybe off and on watching some of the the content. I speak for myself only. I don't know about you guys.
One day I've got to watch, and that's it.
One day? Which day is your watch day?
Well, I mean, we could tell everyone the entire schedule, like I did before we started recording as well, because it's quite concise. Yep.
Okay.
So, on Saturday, June 12th, we have Ubisoft Forward and Gearbox Entertainment. On Sunday, June 13th, we have the Xbox/Bethesda Showcase and the Square Enix presentation. On Monday, June 14th, we have Capcom and Take-Two Interactive. And on Tuesday, June 15th, we have Nintendo Direct/Treehouse Live and Bandai Namco. And that's it. There's some EA stuff later on, but we don't care.
So, wait a minute.
Yeah, they've included in the Polygon article, like on on Thursday the 22nd, there's EA Play Live, but that's, yeah, they even say, like, Electronic Arts will hold a presentation on Thursday, July 22nd, well after E3 2021 concludes. Details are forthcoming.
Did you say Xbox and Bethesda Showcase on June 13th as well?
Yeah.
Or did you just... Okay.
And it's a list. They're all in big, bold letters. I'm not going to miss them out.
Okay. Just checking.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you.
I can vouch.
Yeah, and that is the only one I'm really interested in. Like,
yeah.
Next Sunday, that's obviously what I want to know. I'm hoping for some Starfield news. Xbox as well, obviously, they've got Obsidian, so I'm hoping there'll be something about Avowed. Those are my two big things. Square Enix I've always had like a passing interest in. I'm actually looking at the stuff they talk about here, and Life is Strange, Black Panther, Marvel's Avengers expansion. I'm just like, oh, maybe I won't actually watch that.
Maybe Eidos Montreal will put out a new Deus Ex game instead of working on the Avengers the whole time.
No. I'm just gonna keep working on that until it makes infinite money. I also don't see on here anything about that game that isn't Dark Souls. Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Who's making that?
From Software, probably.
Yeah. Are they under any of these people? Do we know? Like, who's bought them? Everyone belongs to someone else in these modern times.
Right. I would say either Capcom or Bandai, because isn't From Software, like...
Parent organization is Kadokawa.
And who's their parent organization?
I don't know. I don't think there is.
I mean, keep in mind, we're all somewhat under Alphabet, I think. So,
yeah.
It goes crazy. It goes crazy.
I think they're on their own. I don't think they need no publisher.
It's a Japanese media conglomerate.
Man, it's a little up-and-coming corporation. I like how these are genuinely the little guys when it gets to this. And they own, like, millions of things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But comparatively speaking, ooh. Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
Good for them.
They have the teaser playing over their website background, too, when you go to it.
That's cool.
Look at all these particle effects. Look at this beautiful hair.
Wow.
Oh, Sony owns part of the company now.
There you go.
It's less than 2% ownership, but they've started wriggling in.
Dagnabbit, Sony.
Nudge, nudge, Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red looking for them mergers and and whatnot. There you go.
Oh, no.
A little piece of that small pie.
Just wait till Elden Ring gets cancelled so that all the devs from Software can work on Cyberpunk updates.
So you've given a hint at what you'd like to see, Sarge. Jared, is there anything
I'm
to see at E3?
I'm on the same page, honestly. Like, I just want to see if we get a glimpse of anything new that like Bethesda's doing, whether it's Starfield or, God forbid, something Elder Scrolls related. I know every E3, everyone fingers crossed about Elder Scrolls, and we usually get nothing about it, so I'm not holding my breath on that.
Well, it's gonna be a Blades expansion, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they're going to talk about the Elder Scrolls Online stuff. I was talking to one of my moderators, Fredo, who plays it like all the time, and Blackwood just came out, so they'll be highlighting that. And then they haven't announced what the Q3 and Q4 stuff is, which they always do. So we can expect Elder Scrolls Online to get a decent bit of coverage.
Yeah, from what I've noticed, it seems like they're really trying to make sure that Elder Scrolls Online is getting plenty of love. Like they seem pretty intent on like making sure that it succeeds long term, and which is
They
cool.
put out a statement saying that they're keeping it going like after Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Yeah, like it's gonna go forever. It's like, which is fine with me because I don't know about you guys. I actually enjoy ESO Elder Scrolls Online. I've actually been thinking about getting back into it again.
I want to. I just can't get on with the combat. That combat system, which is kind of the old MMO style, as I find it, that turns me off, unfortunately. Like, I really want to enjoy it, and the exploration and some of the quests, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. But the actual core gameplay, I don't enjoy, which is a shame. I really wish I did.
I'm just over the MMO grind. I need to really want to play an MMO.
It's not as bad in ESO, I don't think, though. To me, it feels more like, I mean, honestly, like, to me, it feels like playing an Elder Scrolls game. I mean, yeah, there is some grind, but, you know, most of it's just
It's still got all the trappings of an MMO, though. Like, it's got, skill building, daily quests, all of those things that just makes it into a chore.
I don't usually do most of that stuff, though, like, you don't have to do dailies and stuff like that, but then again,
you don't have to, but it's incentivized.
Well, who gives a crap if it's incentivized? Do what you want to do, man. Don't do what they want you to do.
Play games how you want to play.
Yeah. Don't let the corporation...
But how will I get my legendary set in 76 unless I do that?
I will say 76 is quite bad. No, with 76, you wait for the legendary crafting and see how that turns out. We're waiting on that, seeing if it's terrible or great.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like 76 is like the closest to an MMO that I'll be probably playing for a while. Because I even tried Final Fantasy 14, and like it's just another starting from zero. Hey, we're gonna level up a character, then the content gets good, like end level or level 50 or whatever. I'm like, I don't have the patience for that. You kidding me?
Yeah,
I already play games that do that are single player. Like,
hey, why? I ain't judging, man.
Why would I play a game that's got paid content on top of that can boost your progress like most MMOs do now? Same reason for not jumping back into Warframe, not just because it's a lot of systems, and I know that it's a lot of systems, but they just don't have the patience. Yeah, maybe one day. I installed Guild Wars and didn't even touch it. Like, I spent a good chunk of the day installing Guild Wars, and I didn't play it at all.
Guild Wars is decent for a free MMO. Like, if you're looking for like an MMO, but you don't want to pay like subscription fees and stuff, like, it's pretty decent. I played it quite a bit back in the day. I played the first one a lot, and then I played...
It's one of the OGs, man.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to Bethesda stuff. Just to bring it all the way back around.
Yeah. Me too. And not just online games.
Yeah.
Single player. About single player.
Yes.
Single player that works, please.
I'll always be more about a good single player game than a multiplayer game. You know? That's just... I'm one of those.
Yeah. But if it does happen to be a good co-op game, like Monster Hunter World, then I'm
Elder Scrolls Battle Royale. Anyone else? What? Come on now.
Well, they've done so well with the Fallout 1. I imagine they'll definitely do one.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, though, if they would do something like that. Some kind of...
I hope not. They've abandoned Nuclear Winter and Beta still. Like...
Yeah.
I hope that kind of lets them know, but it's not worth it.
In the back of my head, the potential for like a multiplayer Elder Scrolls like situation like that could be doable if done right. Like, and it would be cool to be on like a massive scale battle with a bunch of other people, whether it's called Battle Royale or whatever. But like that could work and be fun, because most Battle Royale games is like, oh, boom, shooty, bang, bang, boom, boom. There's very little in the way of like hand-to-hand combat Battle Royale, and I think if done properly, it could be fun.
I feel like most of the Battle Royales that have done something unique and cool like that haven't done or performed well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have to come up with a new genre.
Hey.
Or exploit one, depending.
We all know that game developers are all about exploitation.
Oh.
Why are we ending on that, Jared?
It's funny because it's true.
Oh.
Sorry.
On the topic of exploitation.
Wait, you can't segue if you're going to switch things around.
I'm demanding that Sarge tell me what he's playing before he leaves.
Alright, yes. I'm sorry, everyone. But I've recently started streaming Monday to Saturday, 8 PM to midnight UK time, and we're actually recording this podcast a bit late, hence things are a bit jumbled up. And I'm saying now, hey, I played Fallout 4 last week and beat it with the Railroad for my first time ever, which was kind of cool. Railroad sucks, though. I hate them now, especially Deacon. He's a liar. Yeah. And everyone in my chat hates him, especially Jade. And now that I beat Fallout 4 last week, we've jumped onto Fallout New Vegas, where I'm doing my first ever full Legion playthrough, and they're even worse. They are so evil. It is ridiculous. Yeah. When you start siding with them, it's like, oh wow, you have 0 redeeming qualities? Well, isn't this fun? They are just bad. Like, people kind of take the mick out of the Institute and Fallout 4 for being evil. No. Legion New Vegas, they are mustache-twirling evil. It is ridiculous.
It was hilarious to me with your realization on how little there are to do with Legion quests.
Yeah, I mean, there's barely anything to do with them, but I feel like people always say, oh, Obsidian need more time to give the Legion more quests, and I was like, no, they needed more time to make the Legion actually, like, developed as a faction. They just made a bad guy faction, put a Roman paint over it all, and we're like, yeah, that'll do.
Yep.
The Legion aren't that good, and it's only because I'm doing this on stream that I've stuck with a Legion playthrough. Like, even as I've been doing it, we've done a bunch of NCR quests, we've started some Yes Man stuff.
Yeah, you do the thing that me and pretty much everybody else does. It's just like, what if there's other stuff I can do?
Yeah, I've just been doing a ton of side stuff. I've managed to get, like, the NCR to kind of like me a bit as well. We had 2 streams where the NCR did the thing where the Rangers come up and are like, hey, we're gonna, like, shoot you. And then I boosted my reputation to Merciful Thug. Then they did shoot me, but I murdered them because my squad is elite. And then I had the reputation reset, and they were like, hey, we actually love you. Which was pretty nice.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'm continuing to play through that. I'll probably be starting with DLCs tomorrow. I had a poll up on my channel, and it looks like I'm going to be playing Dead Money first. So isn't that fun? I'm going to die so many times!
Aha! Light step helps.
I can't get light step. I don't have the stats for it, I don't think. But even then, light step isn't the biggest deal for me. It's the radios. The radios are what always get me in that DLC. Everything else I'm fine with.
You just gotta memorize the locations. It's easy.
I can't memorize things at all. Remember how several times in this Pipcast you've been like, hey Sarge, remember that thing? And I have no memory of it whatsoever.
Nah.
I do not have a memory. It just does not work.
What are you, meat?
I can't remember if I am or not. But
who are you?
I don't know. It's linked in the description. I'll check thereafter. But the other thing I've been playing is I've been playing more Final Fantasy X in my downtime. And all the characters I hated, I still hate. Walker is clearly a racist to the Albed, and he sucks. Lulu's the only good character. Riku's decent, I guess. Kamari doesn't talk much, so I tolerate him. Yeah, I'm kind of just getting through it, and I'm just like, there's questions that I want answered, so I want to beat it, but every time I play it, I'm just like, God, I hate all of you. But yeah, that's been fun. What have you guys been playing?
Jared?
I've actually picked up and have been playing Destiny 2.
What?
Yeah, I started playing it a little bit with Eddie, Crazy Eyed Eddie, as you all know. But then I kept playing it, like, on my own. And I was like,
it is good.
It's kind of fun, actually.
Yeah.
I was a bit, like, jaded from the first Destiny. I got my first PlayStation 4 in a bundle with Destiny originally because I was super hyped for it, and then when I got it, I was super disappointed with it and never played it again. So when Destiny 2 came out, I had little to no interest in it, and then for some reason I was just like, I'm gonna try it because it's free.
Yep.
And
you get like most of the updates for free as well, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, there's quite a decent amount of content that is free, but then I dropped some money in it for some of the newer stuff as well. So I was like, I guess I'm liking this.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
fun.
yeah.
It's a decent shooter. Like the mobility is really nice and it shoots well. I have very little to complain about. I know a lot of people. It's almost become like an insider meme to hate it and love it. I've seen a lot of reviews. It's like, I hate this game so much, I love it so much. It's just like it's become kind of a thing to say that, it seems like. I haven't experienced that because I haven't got to the in-game grindiness of the game. So
yeah,
I can't speak to that yet.
Early Destiny is just all guns, pew pew pew. Man, this feels really good. They built such a good system. Late Destiny is, okay, squad, you're going to go left on this one, pick up the cube and throw it at that enemy. Okay, who's got Shadow? You've got Shadow. Okay, go on there. We've got 5 seconds. Swords, everyone. Okay, we've got to get Dragonlance from doing Gambit. We'll do 7 matches of Gambit. I've got a mate, Get Good Guy, who plays Destiny 2, and sometimes he'll stream it with his friends, and it is like they are speaking a different language at points. Destiny has... It's not even a skill ceiling, it's just a high expertise level you need to do the fully endgame stuff. But because it plays so well, it's also got a real low entry point, where if you go into it and you just kind of enjoy first-person shooters, you get to experience a really good, well-built FPS game.
Yeah, that's probably where I am.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I'm on that same level. I kind of got to the point where I jumped into it. I'd played all the basic stuff, and as soon as it got complicated, I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to think.
Yeah.
I just want to shoot."
Yeah.
And I left.
I'm not going to become a speedrunner extraordinaire.
No.
Expert precision. Special forces, like you said, speaking another language with other people and stuff like that. That's never going to happen. No. I don't play games long enough to get to that point anymore.
Yeah.
So I could definitely say that that's not going to happen. But I'm enjoying it. It's really pretty.
Yes.
Some of the locations and the set designs and stuff, like, it's really well done. Like, kudos to Bungie. I forgot that they make good stuff.
They do. I've turned my head off in that game before and just ran around and just loved it.
Yeah, it's easy to do that because you got your little sparrow thing, you just zip around all over the place, and it's just fun, and I'm enjoying it. Other than that, mostly my gameplay comes down to live streaming as well, because I also am doing more live streaming. Not as much as Sarge is. I kind of have dissected my week into doing some live streams and some traditional recording Let's Play type videos that I normally do. Yeah. Right now I stream Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays, and Mondays. So it's like start of the week and end of the week with streams, and in the middle it's just your regular content. I don't know, it seems to work, and I'm really enjoying it. So I've been playing a lot of Mass Effect, obviously, as Caedo can, attest to that as well, because I know he's been playing a lot of that too. Have you been playing Mass Effect, Sarge? I don't know if you...
No, I played a bit of the original before and around when the Legendary Edition came out, but I've not jumped back into it.
Okay. I'm still on the first game because I'm live streaming it, so it's like 3 to 4 hour increments, and it's a big, massive open world type game. So it's taken me a while to get through it, but it's kind of fun because I've talked to other friends who've played it and are already burned out on it because they just play and play and play and play, and so it kind of keeps me from doing that. So it's Mass Effect. What am I going to say about it? If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you're missing out. Dark Side Detective is also something that I've just been playing. Just finished it. That's a little old, like, not old, but like old style, retro style, pixel, point and click. Heavily influenced by a lot of different nerdy pop culture type stuff like X-Files and Twilight Zone and stuff like that.
Okay. And it uses adventure game logic.
Yeah, it's if you're familiar with like old LucasArts games like Monkey Island and Loom and just stuff like that, Day of the Tentacle, which sounds weird if you don't know what that is. But it's just a fun, like, it's all, no voice acting in the game, so I've got to do it all. So it kind of presents itself as a challenge to me as someone who likes doing different voices and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. But we finished it, so I'll never play it again.
Yeah.
I jumped in during the part where you had the fishing pole and you were trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is with those games is there's always that moment where you're like, what the heck do I do next?
Turns out he needed to dump honey all over the fishing pole.
Yeah.
And then stick it in an anthill to attract some ants.
Yeah.
Perfect sense.
It does. That's that adventure logic. I must say that they do that well, stumping me. Like, I have the mentality of someone who's played a lot of like point and click adventure games, so I kind of know like what you need to do with like some items and combining them with other things. Darkside Detective does a really good job of just it being completely freaking random and not making really any sense. But when you figure it out, you're like, that's pretty hilarious. So it's a good little game. I recommend it. And then I've started streaming with Eddie actually on Sundays, since we don't do that anymore.
Whoa.
Hey! I thought we were going to play some Left 4 Dead. I installed it and everything.
I installed it too.
Well, no one told me.
It was in the group chat. We still got the group chat. We've just failed to do anything for a couple of weeks, that's all.
Well, fine. No, but yeah, we, I don't know, we just decided to do something on Sundays since we were kind of used to doing stuff on Sundays. We started playing The Forest, which is a survival-based spoopy game, I guess. Which apparently is kind of,
Get spooked.
Get spooked, yeah. Which apparently is kind of a big deal for Eddie, because I guess he doesn't really do spoopy games. So I think some of his usual viewers were surprised to see him playing a scary game. We had a lot of fun though. It's a good game. It's a fun game. It's got really solid like crafting in it, which in a game like that, a survival game, is kind of important. The survival crafting aspect of the game is done really well. The horror stuff is kind of creepy. Like at first, I was having this conversation with someone who's like, once you kind of have seen the creepiness, it kind of loses its creepiness, as most creepy things do. Once you've seen it, you're like, oh, you scared me, but now I know. But it's a good game. It's a solid game. I think they're working on a sequel, but I don't know. But yeah,
okay,
that's it, man. What about you, Mr. Caedo? What have you been doing?
Whoa. Well, yesterday when this video goes up, I put up a tips and tricks finally for Biomutant. It came out a couple of weeks ago, the game, not the video, and I just was recording a whole bunch of random open world bullcrap that I was like, maybe I'll do a guide on this. I have that habit when it's a game that is overwhelming like that, where it's just got just a bunch of stuff in it. So I was having trouble deciding on what to do. So the tips and tricks format actually helps me at least make one thing out of a game. So I'm kind of glad I do those now. It doesn't help that I wish, or you wish, or wish you knew is like a really common search term I learned in YouTube. A really common title, but I'm gonna stick with my guns and use it because it's effective.
Yeah.
But Biomutant, it's a mixed game, mixed bag for me. I was explaining it to a gamer buddy I reconnected with last night while I wasn't sleeping, and it's the weapon customization, combat has its moments, and the world is beautiful. Like, those are the main things for me. Everything else, the morality system, the low stakes morality system that's just a gate for unlocks, the unnecessary dialogue and third person narration kind of thing is not really my jam. And the story is meh, but the combat and the weapon customization make up for a lot of that. So, and the exploration's good too. But yeah, I don't recommend people pay $60 for Biomutant.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, wait until it's like 40 or less if you're really into open world games that try to do something different. This was more a really ambitious open world game for such a small team, because it was a team of around 20 people. Experiment and it's Experiment 101's first game as a studio, so like there are so many factors in here where it could have gone horribly wrong, and it didn't go horribly wrong. It's just okay. So props to them for that at the very least. And they've already implemented a patch where you can toggle the narration, the gibberish, or both, which is one of the main things that I complained about. Like I said, I did tips and tricks on it. Also played Mass Effect Legendary, we already talked about this, and Wasteland 3, Battle for Steeltown. I've been streaming actually both of those on my Discord fairly regularly. I have yet to finish Mass Effect 3. Like, we just did the Citadel DLC, so like I'm at the very like end trigger of the end quest, but I know it's going to be like 3 hours or more. So
I've been amazed you haven't finished it yet with how much you've been playing it.
Well, I kept switching back to Biomutant because I was like, I need to do something with this. So
fair enough.
And then the Battle for Steeltown came out and I forgot. And I was also visiting my parents, so there was also that. Like, I waited to play Mass Effect 3 after I came back from visiting my folks, so that was pretty important too. I didn't want to be thinking about Mass Effect 3 while I was spending time with my family. I would have if I started Mass Effect 3 and then left. That's what I've been doing and playing. Bye! I'm just kidding.
No, but that is my cue to leave. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I'm just going to stop my recording.
Okay.
Send it over and all of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarge.
Bye.
For being a part of the party for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to be such a short topic, dude.
I know. I was even I was looking up tunnel snakes, I was just Googling it, just like, oh, there's got to be some, like something that, that I can latch on to other than the obvious that they are just who they are.
Yeah. Anyway, our Fallout topic that was a suggestion by one of my moderators, thank you, Dakoba, was do the tunnel snakes rule. And this is referring to the Fallout 3 faction, the tunnel snakes, the small gang that's run by Butch in Vault 101. Pretty much first start up the game and take part in the tutorial. You learn about it. And, doesn't score too many points with the leader being a bully and everything, but, you know, it's, comment if you think the tunnel snakes rule. Maybe we should add more context. So I'm just gonna read what the wiki says, because I'm not feeling like I have original thoughts right now.
Yeah.
They wear perfecto black leather jackets all over their vault suits and have recognizable 1950s haircuts. The pompadour kind of haircut, that kind of thing. The members of the gang are Butch Deloria, Wally Mack, and Paul Hannon Jr. The leadership of the gang shifts consistently between Butch and Wally, with Paul following whoever is in charge at the moment. One other Vault resident, Freddy Gomez, desires membership in the Tunnel Snakes gang, and the gang members approve of Freddy's bullying of his peers. I guess that's their initiation. Freddy's father, Officer Gomez, disapproves of his son's association with the gang. In late 2260s, the young Butch is actively organizing the gang and recruiting new members during the Lone Wanderer's 10th birthday. Butch holds an open panel for possible gang names. Wally suggests Mackers and Hell's Overseers, whereas Paul suggests Grease Weasels, Vaultikins, and Vault Dwellers. Butch suggests Vault Rats and Vault Snakes. The name Vault Snakes was eventually accepted by the gang and changed to Tunnel Snakes. A carefully drawn and designed snake is sewn into the leather surface of the jacket's backs. The snake's body forms the letter S. That's basically the origin of the Tunnel Snakes. Yep. So your first encounter with the Tunnel Snakes is still in the tutorial in Vault 101 when you're going to take your goat test and you hear Almodovar, the Overseer's daughter, being bullied by Butch and his pals, and you can interject or help with the bullying. Or do something a little more subtle, which is probably my favorite approach, which is, I think it's Wally.
Yeah, the one that's kind of not really your friend, but he kind of like sympathizes with you.
Yeah, you can speak to Wally and convince him that he's just a follower, not a leader. And he's like, "We're done here." After, and then Butch is like, "I'll say when we're done," and Wally's like, "No, we're done." And then they all just leave.
Good old persuasion.
Yep, using some reverse psychology on him, saying that he's not good enough to be the leader, and then he gets all uppity about it.
It's been a while since I played. Do you need like a certain level of persuasion in order to make that approach happen? I can't remember. Or do you even have the ability? Have you even established that sort of stuff yet? I don't remember, honestly. Like, I'm having a hard time remembering.
I think
because when do you establish you establish your special skills when you're a baby, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you I think you would have the ability to have your charisma high enough to.
It would be charisma oriented if anything.
Yeah,
because that's before you take your GOAT test, which is your skills.
Yeah.
Your tag skills picker thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My favorite part, honestly, is the eventual like fate of the tunnel snakes, because like you might think, oh, these guys, maybe they redeem themselves or find a greater purpose than bullying people, but they kind of don't.
Yeah,
they kind of don't really like. I mean, obviously, at one point when you leave, is kind of the turning point for the vault, and more people start leaving and stuff, and eventually the tunnel snakes leave the vault, right?
Mm-hmm. Butch ends up in Rivet City as a companion.
Yeah, but like reading the wiki here, it's like they take some gunners captive, but then everyone just eventually dies of radiation poisoning or are turned into feral ghouls. It's like, wow, good job, guys.
You're talking about the extended Fallout 4 stuff?
I don't know, I'm just reading the wiki at this point.
Yeah.
It says at some point later, the tunnel snakes have a brief skirmish with a group of gunners driving them off, which almost sounds like, wow, like maybe they've redeemed themselves, because the gunners are typically kind of not great people. They're like, hey, they turned their bullying ways into, a constructive, for good, maybe situation. But then it says, like, by the time that they've celebrated their victory, many members of the group have developed radiation sickness, eventually succumbing to poisoning and turning into feral ghouls. It's like, well, so much for their redemption story.
Yeah, that's from some Creation Club content. And that one's kind of up in the air with like whether or not fans consider that like canon,
right?
For the tunnel snakes or not. I like when Bethesda does that, like little additional stuff, especially self-referential things as content. Like that usually makes better content for me than working on something established.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about that. I just think it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of funny in like the gruesome Fallout manner where things are usually not good endings.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's it's only a post-apocalyptic scenario with radiation, nukes, and monsters, and raiders, and horrible situations. So,
so I think it was who was it? I think McCready, the companion McCready in Fallout 4, also sometimes yells "Tunnel Snakes rule" in combat.
Does he?
Very rarely.
So, like, maybe the tunnel snakes continued, and maybe he was a part of them at one point. Because why else would you say that?
I think, like, McCready is a pretty sarcastic dude, so maybe like as a kid or as he was growing up in the capital Wasteland, like maybe he had just come across Butch and his gang at some point, and they're just laughably cheesy that he just wanted to use. That's how I imagine it anyway.
Huh. It kind of makes me create in my own mind, like my own head canon, like maybe the Tunnel Snakes lived on and became a legitimate group, and like maybe I don't know, like maybe McCready, maybe it was maybe it became an actual like gang somewhere that has a reputation at some point, and then like maybe McCready at some point was part of that, and like he, like people who were part of like a fraternity in college, like even later in life they still remember their credos and their chants and their songs and stuff. Like maybe McCready still remembers his time living amongst the Tunnel Snakes as one of the members of that gang until he was, conscripted into he's oh my gosh, brain needs to work. He's who's he part of?
McCready?
Yeah.
He was a gunner.
He's a gunner, right. Or maybe here's a thought.
Former gunner.
Maybe the gunners used to be the Tunnel Snakes, and then they got serious.
Oh!
Yeah.
It's true, there's no really definitive existence or definitive origin of the gunners.
So there's an idea, like if let's take, like the bit we were talking about, the Tunnel Snakes having a skirmish with a group of gunners, and that being fan fiction in of itself. Let's say that didn't happen, and let's say that the Tunnel Snakes, instead of continuing on as the Tunnel Snakes and not being taken seriously, they're like, now we're the gunners, all hail Butch, or something, and maybe that's part of the gunners' history, which is why McCready would say that. I feel like he wouldn't, even being sarcastic, he wouldn't yell that out as a battle cry.
I just clarified that it's not a battle cry, it's when underground. McCready will randomly shout "Tunnel Snakes rule," which is a reference. But that's all it says.
It could be just Bethesda being like, "Hey, remember these guys?"
Yeah.
He's gonna remind you now by saying
they do that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that could be all it is, but it seems to be a pretty common phenomenon with Bethesda games in particular, where Bethesda will throw in something that's meant to just be a silly cameo, and people are like, oh my gosh, this is what this actually means. This is hidden canon story, and we're going to make it up right now, which is what I've done. The Gunners and the Tunnel Snakes are one and the same. You heard it here first, folks. Bethesda, we figured you out.
Yep.
We know you're listening.
Yep, hire Sarge.
Hey, I came up with this. Dang it.
Well, I know, but we want Sarge to get a job, and then he can get us a job.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I suppose if any of us is going to, it would be Sarge at this point. But yeah, so to the question at hand, the topic, do they rule? If it depends on the unofficial canon outcome, I guess, or maybe it depends on the actual I don't know what happens to Butch as a companion. I don't think I ever used him as a companion.
Well, I would say, in the literal sense, no, they do not rule, because they're just 3 dudes. 3 to 4 dudes, most of the time. And we don't... I'm pretty sure the DLC that came out for Fallout 4, or the Creation Club thing that came out for Fallout 4, I don't think Butch was even part of it, which implies that he'll still be somewhere in the Wasteland in future Fallout games in the timeline, maybe, which would be hilarious and great. But he probably wouldn't be ruling, or would be ruling in his own mind, but really not. In a more figurative sense, they have cool leather jackets.
Yeah.
I like me some leather jackets. Their logo's neat. Whoever did that is a good artist.
Yeah. It's clever.
Yeah.
It's like a evil Superman. Because of the snake in the ass, Like...
Yeah.
So here's my thoughts, though. So let's look at, like, do they rule? consider the fact, again, that McCready is saying tunnel snakes rule how many years later? Or is it years before? I don't know where the timelines converge, actually. So my point might be just
I'm pretty
me
sure
talking out my butt.
I'm pretty sure Fallout 4 is 20 years after?
Okay. So even if it is 20 years after, if you're a group of 3 dudes who've lived in a vault and have created a gang with a saying, a motto, a credo. How many?
10 years.
Even 10 years, whatever. It doesn't matter how long it is. The fact that someone is still, like, referencing it, let's say it goes beyond just Bethesda throwing in a cute little throwback. It's all hypothetical, obviously. I'm just trying to create a counterpoint. The fact that they still are being referenced 10 years later by a character that doesn't seem to have any connection to them might suggest that they have done more than we are aware of, and therefore they're preserved, like they are history. So maybe they do in fact rule.
It could be the case.
You know what I mean?
It could have been. I mean, McCready was in the Capital Wasteland up until a certain point, so as a stupid kid, so it could have been, just a common phrase that was used to describe something, either I would guess ironically,
right?
Because,
but even ironically though, if you're a group and you come up with a phrase and people continue to use that phrase, even if it's ironic, I mean, think of like nowadays with memes and stuff like that, like those ideas and that saying still is living on instead of just being completely annihilated to time and history. So many people go through life trying to preserve their legacy. It is for some people the penultimate, like, this is what I am supposed to do with my life. It gives me meaning, that my legacy lives on, and people know who I am, what I did, even if that meaning is forgotten. The saying still exists. I'm really stretching here, dude. But
and that legacy is Tunnel 6 rule.
That's right.
That's us, and we rule. Hey, so if you haven't seen the Tunnel Snakes rule like remix thing, I'll probably just link that too because it's hilarious. That meme has been around for such a long time, and it's partially what inspired the Grootalicious video, because it's kind of along the same vein. It's using Groovatron to make the NPCs dance and stuff like that, and put a repetitive like beat track or electronic track in the background and just playing the dialogue over and over and over. It's
nice.
Silly.
I have not seen it.
You need to watch it before we stop recording.
I take back everything I said.
Which part? They rule or they don't?
They don't rule. No.
Oh, okay.
There's no way they can rule with those dance moves, man.
But we put that in the Fallout topic link down below. Since we did things a little bit out of order, it's gonna sound weird. I am probably gonna like cut this into the end, so it'll sound more fluid.
So it's not like Sarge is here and then gone and then here again.
It might be that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I know that my voice is dying, so we gotta call it good.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening to our ridiculous topic. Thank you, Dakuba, for that silly nonsense of a topic. You just mentioned it one day, and I was just like, why not? Let's make that a thing. Comment below whether or not the Tunnel 6 rule, or if they don't, and one of those will be the comment of the cast for the next PIPCAST, and we'll probably have a better topic too. What are you looking forward to for E3? That E3 is coming. Are you stoked for Dying Light 2 and Horizon Forbidden West? And I don't know, if you want to talk some crap on Cyberpunk, do that. Whichever. Just share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Jared, for being here. I really appreciate you.
Oh.
Thank you to Sarge, even though he left.
He abandoned us.
He abandoned us part of the way through, but that's okay because he had other stuff to do.
It's also strangely on brand for him.
Abandoning us, yes.
From our gameplay experience.
That's very on brand. So I don't expect too much, but I appreciate when he is here.
Yeah.
So anyway, you all take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks on the next PIPCAST 3000 every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Bye.